It's the greatest rush of adrenaline. It's like a first kiss.
First of all, congratulations on this movie. It was just so beautifully done. Your performances were just so lovely in it. I personally knew that the gay rodeo was a thing because I saw it advertised in Las Vegas once. But I feel like this movie really gave me a crash course. I'm curious how much you knew about it going into this, and then what's the most interesting thing you learned about like the gay rodeo and its culture throughout the process?
I mean, I knew zilch. I didn't know it existed, and it was a really cool world to get to learn about and to actually go to one of the rodeos. And I mean, what was surprising, I mean, the whole thing was sort of surprising. It's like, this is out here. This has just been out here the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll totally, yeah. Going off of what Eve said, I mean, it was all new for me. This was such a huge part of Luke, our director's own life experience and what he'd grown up with, not the queer rodeo, but just rodeo in general. And so, he was really the perfect person, I think, to walk us through all of it. And yeah, I mean, there, as far as surprises go, I think this is just a general thing, but like the goat dressing, I had no idea what that was. Still don't really understand how that's a thing, but hey, we love it. We got to do it in the actual rodeo, not just doing it generally. So that was really fun. And yeah, I mean, there's so much about, I just never grew up getting to go to anything like that, carnivals, anything like that, So all of it is something that's only existed in films and stories to me. So really getting to just immerse yourself into it is really, really special.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys both have just such an incredible chemistry that I feel like really grounds and makes this movie. Even from that first scene when you're like brushing the horse, you can just feel so much of that sort of just like chemistry between you. And I'm curious if you did anything particular to help sort of develop that because it just really shows on screen.
I think you know, our characters are meeting each other, so we were able to kind of like meet each other and like let it happen. But we went out for like, I mean, we met in New York once, and then we in New Mexico like went out kind of wearing elements of our costumes, and yeah, we tried to foster it, I would say.
Yeah, and Luke, we really didn't have much time as far as pre-production, but pretty much every night or every second that we had as far as downtime, Luke was always trying to get us to come over to his place and just kind of loosely walk through some of the scenes. And I think something for him that was really important was making sure the physical language was always really there and really clear. And I think knowing like once we found that in some of those sessions, then it was kind of knowing that that was the touchstone. And then a lot of it we just wanted to happen on camera, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Charlie, you've mentioned in other interviews that you and Luke really connected over music when making this film. I'm curious if you could share a couple of songs that you found during filming or that you kept kind of going back to during the filming of the project.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I could pull the playlist up right now, but we're not gonna do that. I mean, one that actually got to make the film, which was a really special thing. One that was really kind of like the spiritual theme song for me as we were going into it and then doing it was this song called Reincarnation by Suzanne Sunfor. And Suzanne's actually a friend of Luke's, which was really, really cool. But I had never heard her before, never heard the song. And he sent it to me during pre-production. And her voice, I mean, oh my God, it just gives me chills talking about it. But her voice was just such a clear, she's so pure. It's this kind of Western feel, and yet it also feels completely new. And the song itself is kind of in a montagey type mix in the film, but seriously, anyone should go listen, especially her live version. I'm just like the biggest fan. So yeah, I think that if I had to pick one, that's certainly the one for sure.
I love that. And Eve, for you, I feel like Sky has a very sort of particular aesthetic as well. Were there any songs or even other film characters or p pictures even that sort of felt like your way into this character?
Yeah, I mean, we all like created our own little playlists, and there was also like a National Anthem playlist that Luke shared with us. My song was Papa Was a Rodeo, and I would listen to it kind of before, I would start the day with it. I would listen to it, during lunch or whatever. That was sort of to me like like found her maybe where I found a bit of her past or something like that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love getting the music inspirations. One line I really love from this movie is, I don't think you're boring. I think you just haven't found your people yet. Can you guys both recall the first time you felt like you really sort of met your people or found your, found your community?
I had a really weird upbringing in that I started acting when I was like 10, and then I moved schools around a lot. And I would say I didn't really have that feeling until I was about 17. And I remember being around young people my age for the first time and going, oh, wow, like this must be what that's like. And, not just any young people, but young people who were really passionate about art and film and all this stuff. And, I just felt like, oh my God, this is kind of the beginning of life. And I, I just really needed that feeling to begin so many things in my own life. So yeah, I mean, that was certainly a thing. But I think that theme of chosen family that the film really hits on is something that, since then, when I was like 16 or whatever, I've really grown a lot with in that time. And I think it happened to coincide in a really wonderful way that, like, right before we got to make this movie, I felt like I really rediscovered what that meant for myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I was always like a loner and a floater, and I would like, find little groups that I would be a part of for a time, but then I would move on. And it wasn't until like kind of after we wrapped this movie that I like moved across the country to LA. And I really feel like I found a good group of people out here that I trust and I'm able to like rely on and let them rely on me. And yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited for everyone to get to see this movie, and it was just really lovely talking to you both.